One of these people is the world's champion wrestler. What is your name, please?
My name is the Fabulous Moolah.
My name is the Fabulous Moolah.
My name is the Fabulous Moolah.
Only one of these people is the real Fabulous Moolah. The other two are imposters and will try to fool this panel. Tom Poston, Rita Gann, Don Ameche, and Betty White on To Tell the Truth with your host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening and welcome once again to Tell the Truth, brought to you this week by R.J. Reynolds, makers of Camel cigarettes. Rita, it's a lot of pleasure to welcome you to our little group. Hope you enjoy playing truth with us tonight.
Oh, I hope so. I will. I enjoy looking at it at home.
Well, panel, will you all remove for the first time tonight your affidavit cards?
Rita and I played To Tell the Truth once before. Do you remember?
I do indeed, but it wasn't exactly to play the truth. It was sort of playing insects. You were a butterfly and I was a butterfly.
No, don't you remember?
Yeah.
We played it on the Allen
Oh, I
show.
know, but we didn't play it.
We did a takeoff of
Yeah.
To Tell the Truth, and I just thought of that.
You didn't know we just switched channels to another show, did you, ladies and gentlemen? Now will you follow along as I read, please? I, the Fabulous Moolah, am world's professional wrestling champion and hold the $5,000 jewel-studded belt symbolic of the championship. I'm considered the best-dressed wrestler in the business since I own 52 different costumes. Wrestling requires discipline. I keep in condition by doing 100 push-ups, 200 knee bends, and 100 sit-ups every day. It's hard work, but it's worth it. Last year, I earned more than $100,000. Signed, the Fabulous Moolah. There you have our opening gambit panel for tonight. 3 persons, each one claiming to be the Fabulous Moolah, world's champion wrestler. And we'll begin this first round of questioning tonight with Tom Poston. Tom?
Thank you, Bud. Number 2, Fabulous number 2. What is Rocca? What is Rocca's first name?
Antonio.
Number 3, do you agree with that completely?
Antonio, yes.
Number 1, do you agree with that?
Antonio Rocca,
Where's he from, number 1?
Argentina.
Number 1, what do you use rosin for?
So you won't slip in the ring.
Do wrestlers use rosin?
Not usually.
No. Number 2, Fabulous, what is a flying mare?
It's when you get a person from behind, from the rear, and throw them over your shoulder.
Zowie, it sounds dangerous. Don't you ever get hurt, number 2?
Oh, yes.
Number 3, what is the greatest risk that most wrestlers run in the ring?
The greatest risk?
Mm-hmm.
Getting thrown out.
Number 1,
Rita?
Number 3, before you were a professional wrestler, were you a wrestler for our Olympic team?
No, I wasn't.
Number 1, were you a wrestler for
No,
our
I was
Olympic
not.
team? Number 2, I know this is silly, but do you only wrestle women or men?
Women.
I'm relieved.
Our own time.
Yeah, I hope. Number 1, where were you born?
In New Jersey.
Number 3, where were you born?
Upstate New York.
Number 1, is your name Moolah a taken name or a natural name?
Taken name.
Number 2, is Moolah?
To take a name.
Don?
Number 1, how long have you held the title?
About 2 months.
Number 2, who did you wrestle to win the title from?
The ex-world's champion.
Number 3, how long have you held the title?
1 week.
And who'd you wrestle to win it?
Pat O'Connor.
Who?
Pat O'Connor.
Number 1, who did you wrestle to win the title from?
Pat O'Connor.
Number 2, is Gorgeous George still wrestling?
I don't know.
Number 3, what was Gorgeous George's mark in the ring?
His long hair.
Number 1, how many
Betty Whites? Only one.
One too many. Thank you, Bud. Well, we're at $100,000 last year. That is Fabulous Moolah indeed. Number 1, what was Rocca famous for? What?
Dropkick.
And number 2, do you agree with that?
Yes.
Number 3, where is his hometown?
Argentina. I don't know the hometown, but he's from Argentina.
Uh-huh. And number 2, what is a tag team?
It's when there's 4 people in the ring at one time, 2 on each side.
Number 1, how do they go about deciding whose turn it is to wrestle in a tag team match?
In a tag team, he has to hold on to a rope, and his partner has to tag him.
Number 2, where do you get those 52 costumes?
You never know, because you have to vote now. But not 52 votes, just one for each of you, if you will, please. Mark your ballots. Without consultation, vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Team of challengers, as is our custom, will receive $250 for every incorrect vote. Are we all set?
Yes.
Tom, for whom did you vote?
Well, on the basis of Antonino, I voted for number 1. I didn't think he gave any wrong answers. I'd like to see the rest of those costumes, though. I thought they were all very colorful. And I must congratulate number 2. If she's not the real one, she certainly was brave to come here and give all those great answers.
Rita, for which one did you cast your
I
vote?
voted for number 1. I was torn. I really had a feeling that number 3 was the real wrestler, but number 1 answered so concisely at the rock question, so I went with you, sir.
Okay, Don.
I voted for number 3, and I have a magnificent reason.
What is it?
He's the only one that had his middle completely covered so that he could wear the belt, and I couldn't see. I sure couldn't tell from the questioning.
Betty, which one do you think is the real one?
That's enough to make me change my vote. I voted for number 1 on the strength of the drop kick, but the face on number 2 when Tom just gave his reason, now I'm worried. Now I'm really worried.
All right. Well, we'll find out whether we have anything to worry about or not, because now we come to the moment whether we get our own particular fall, if we can, the best 2 out of 3, and discover which one of these persons is the real world's champion wrestler. So will the real fabulous Moolah please stand up? Well, believe me, when you start out by fooling them right down the line like that, that's a good opening gambit in any way you may want to look at it. Let's find out about the others. Number 1, would you tell us your real name and what you really do, please?
My name is Ben Marfucci. I'm vice president of a candy wrapping equipment company.
Dropkick's Candy Bar. Number 3, would you tell us your real name and what you do, please?
My name is John Peter Zach from Greenwood Lake, New York, and I'm a police captain.
Well, bless you. You really licked the panel at its own game to start off things tonight. That means, of course, there were 1, 2, 3, 4 incorrect votes at $250 each for a grand total for you 3 people of $1,000 from Camel Cigarettes, as well as, of course, a carton of Camels for each of you. Thank you so much for taking time out from a busy ring to come over here and wrestle with us. Good night. Good luck to you. You know what a postman's holiday is, don't you? It's doing on vacation what you do all year long. Well, here's a good example of what I mean. Now, panel, may I introduce our second team of challengers?
What is your name, please?
My name is Zoanne Warburg.
My name is Zoanne Warburg.
My name is Zoanne Warburg.
Follow along once again after a good look, panel, if you will, please, with your copies of this affidavit. I, Zoanne Warburg, once represented my state in the Miss America beauty pageant in Atlantic City. There I made a speech which won me a college scholarship. I went on to take my degree in law. In 1960, I ran for probate judge in my home county and won by 328 votes. I am the first woman judge in my area, the youngest judge, male or female, in my state, and as far as I know, the youngest woman judge in the United States. Signed, Zoanne Warburg. Panel, as you heard, 3 ladies now claiming to be Zoanne Warburg, lady judge and former Miss America contestant. And we begin this round with Don Ameche. Don?
Thank you, Bud. Number 2, what is the judgeship immediately above probate?
In the state where I'm judge?
I beg your pardon?
In the state where I'm judge?
Yes.
The district court. The district judge.
District judge. Number 3, how many years did you spend in law school?
I spent a total of 7.
In law school alone?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, 3 in law school, 4 in college.
3 in law school. Number 1, what subjects did you take in your first year law school?
I can't even remember.
No way to remember. Number 2, what does torts deal with?
Torts deals with wrongs between individual people.
Number 3, what did you talk about in your speech that won you the scholarship?
I talked about the opportunities in the United States for women, and it gave me a special scholarship.
Number 1, where did you go to school?
Stanford University.
Number 2, where did you go to school?
At Stanford.
Go ahead, Don. Ask the other one.
Number 3?
Boston University.
I thought you might as well get that. Betty?
There's one in every crowd. Thank you, Bud. Number 2, there is a rather famous woman judge in Los Angeles. Could you give me her name?
No, I'm not familiar with her.
Number 1?
Helen Gahagan Douglas? I'm not sure.
And number 3, could you?
Well, I think it was Helen Gahagan Douglas, if that's whom you're referring to. But I'm not sure.
You won't tell me. Why should I tell you? Number 3, what state did you represent in Miss America?
Massachusetts.
And number 2?
Idaho. Idaho.
Idaho. And number 1?
Iowa.
Iowa. Number 2, what's the capital of Idaho?
Boise.
What's a good-sized town?
Tom Poston.
Number 1, do you happen to know what a null pros is? I may not be pronouncing that right.
Sounds like a French pastry. I'm sorry.
Number 2, who won when you were a contestant in Miss America?
In 1952.
Who won the contest altogether?
Miss Georgia, Neva Jane Langley.
Do you happen to remember number 2 when beautiful Marilyn Vanderburg was the Miss America of this country?
I don't know. It was after 1952, but I'm not sure which year.
Do you happen to know what a null pros is, Miss number 2?
You must be mispronouncing it. I don't know.
Number 3, do you know what I'm talking about even?
I'm not quite sure what you're talking about at all.
I'm not either. Number 3, how is a judge titled? Not Your Honor, but like on stationery and when he's introduced at a party.
Well, some people put the honorable on stationery. It's not necessary.
It isn't?
No, not really.
Rita.
Number 1, what is the name of, I can assume, the other lawyer who was running against you for your judgeship?
Thomas Cahill.
Number 2, what was the name of the other lawyer?
J. Dean Mosier.
Number 3?
Frank Knox.
Number 3, what's the biggest hotel in Boston?
Well, I think it's the one with the swimming pool. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's where Ted Williams stays. And it's very pretty, and it's right on... Isn't that awful? It's very pretty, and it's white.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Number 1, what is the biggest hotel in Stanford?
Well, Stanford is about a mile from Palo Alto, and the University Hotel is the main hotel in Palo Alto.
I guess that's it. Once again, panel, it's time for you to vote. So win, lose, or draw, let's mark these ballots without consultation and vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Okay, everybody Noel Prost?
Is that the way they pronounce that, Bud? You know, you're a lawyer.
Noli is the first part of it.
Noli?
N-O-L-L-E, Noli Prost. Tom, for whom did you vote?
I voted for you, Bud. You knew what Nolan Cross. I voted for number 2 because she didn't know the prettiest.
Rita?
I voted for number 1 on pure instinct. Number 2 knew all the answers, I thought. From my knowledge of law, anyway.
All right, Don, for whom did you vote?
I voted for number 2 also, Bud. Number 1 had no recall of her first-year subjects, and number 3 didn't know the biggest hotel in Boston, so I guess I couldn't go for that. Went to
Betty?
Boston University.
Which one did you select?
It doesn't make any difference what anybody answers. When you sort of get an idea in your head, when you first see the 3 people standing up there, you can't get that idea out of it. So I'm going for number 2, strictly on a hunch.
Okay, there we have it once again. Noli Prost or not, to the contrary notwithstanding, let's find out whether we're going to win this here now lawsuit or not, as we learn which one of these 3 ladies is the real judge and former Miss America contestant. So will the real Zoanne Warburg please stand up? Thank you very much, Your Honor. And the panel kind of came back. You redeemed yourself this time. With 4 strikeout last time, you got yourself with 3 correct guesses this time, meaning only 1 incorrect. Let's find out about the others. Number 1, what is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Marilyn Sidwell, and I work for the Business Mail Foundation in New York.
Thank you. And finally, number 3, you had very good knowledge, except for the hotel in Boston. What is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Rosemary Haley, and I am a child health reporter on an ABC network show called Claire.
Thank you. Yes, Tom?
Can we ask where Her Honor is presiding?
Where are you presiding, Your Honor?
In Twin Falls, Idaho.
Twin Falls, Idaho.
Thank you.
Twin benches there, one on each side of the courtroom. Well, you didn't do as well as the first group, but the panel did better, and that's the way those things go. There was only 1 incorrect vote at $250, and that is the total from Camel Cigarettes for you. But we do hope that you have enjoyed your visit with us, as much as we know you'll enjoy the carton of Camels that'll be waiting for you as you leave. Good night to you, good luck, and God bless you. You know the old saying, good things come in small packages? Well, what comes in big packages? Once again, panel, may I introduce a select set of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Alex Rourke, Jr.
My name is Alex Rourke, Jr.
My name is Alex Rourke, Jr.
Follow along for the 3rd time, if you will, panel, with your copy of this affidavit. I, Alex Rourke, Jr., am a freelance news reporter. For the past few years, I have been concentrating on the big story in Cuba. I was the first American newsman to be imprisoned by Castro. I am now reporting on the anti-Castro movement and its military forces. I have slipped into Cuba by boat and plane 8 times to interview the rebel commanders in their hideouts. These rebels are performing the same type of military operation as Castro did against Batista from 1956 to 1958. Signed, Alex Rourke, Jr. Three stalwart gentlemen this time, panel, each claiming to be Alex Rourke, Jr., as you heard, reporter in the Cuba situation, and we will start this round of questioning with Betty White. Betty?
Thank you, Bud. Number 3, where is the hideout where the rebel commanders are now?
Escobero Bay.
Number 2, do you agree with that?
It's as good a place as any.
All righty. Number 1, where is who is the head of the opposition movement in Cuba at this point?
Miro Cardona.
Number 2, where is Batista now?
I think in Spain or in the Canary Islands.
Number 3, where is Batista now?
He's not in Cuba.
Number 1, where is Batista now?
I don't know.
Where did he go immediately following the revolution, number 1?
He came to Florida.
Number 2, do you agree with that?
Tom Poston.
I guess we can't consult, can we? I was going to... number 2, do you happen to know what La Bodeguita del Media is?
No, I don't.
Number 3, do you know what it is?
I do not.
La Bodeguita del Media. Number 1, do you happen to know?
No.
It's funny, tell me...
That's Noli Pros, I think.
Number 2, what is the customary remuneration for beginning reporters when they contribute a story, especially in small town papers and not such big cities thing? What do you get? How do you get paid?
I don't know anything about a small town paper.
Oh, do you know number 3?
You're salaried.
What if you don't get a salary? What if you just get paid by what you do? How do you get paid?
You get paid by the story.
Number 1, is that your understanding?
I don't know. That wasn't my experience.
What was your experience? Number 1, what is the customary landing area for a small plane that's going in illegally into the Cuban island now?
That depends on the type of plane, and some of the newer types are going in with parachutes in a much shorter distance than anything we've known before.
Rita.
Thank you.
Number 1, did they play high-lie during the revolution?
Highlight was played every day in the Latin areas.
Ooh. Number 2, where is the Hotel Nacional?
Where is it? It's in Havana.
Uh-huh. Number 3, what paper do you work for?
Beg pardon?
What paper? What news service?
I
What
have
paper?
worked for the Philadelphia Inquirer, and I've done jobs for CBS.
Number 1, what news service do you send your stories to?
I've done work for AP and UPI.
Number 2, did you grow a beard?
Don Ameche. Number 2, to whom do you sell your stories?
Argosy magazine for one, and to NBC and ABC.
Number 1, to whom do you sell your stories?
Argosy magazine and the television networks.
Number 3, where were you imprisoned?
I was imprisoned in Viradare prison, outside of Havana.
Only once?
Once, for 10 days.
Number 2, what was UPI as a news service now? What were the 2 services before that?
United Press and INS.
Number 1, who is the present head of UPI?
I don't know.
Number 2, does...
Ray, that's it. That's all the time we have. So will you kindly, once again, for the 3rd time tonight, mark your ballots. Without consultation, vote, if you will, for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Everybody set? All right, Tom, for whom this time?
Number 3. I wanted to vote for number 1, and I'm quibbling a little bit, I guess. I think number 2 looks like it. And I like the way number 1 answered the questions, but I went for number 3 because he looks like, to me, the kind of man who would be willing to take these risks after once being imprisoned already. As I recall that story, it wasn't a very nice situation for Mr. Rourke to be in. And he looks like the kind of a guy who would face the possibility of having that happen to him again.
Would you just run through your reason once again? Rita,
I voted for
never mind. Rita, your vote, please.
I voted for number 2 because that Mr. Rourke looks like all the foreign correspondents that I always read about or thought about or what have you. So there you are.
All right, Don.
I voted for number 3, Bud, and I sure wish I had a real good reason for doing this, but
I can
seeing
give
as
you
how I
mine,
don't,
Tom.
I see you can I big part of Tom's,
You
yes.
didn't see his belt this time, did you?
No.
Betty.
Well, I went for number 3, and I had a real good reason. But I think on the strength of the way he answered about Batista, I don't imagine he gave out very much information to the Cubans when he was in prison.
All right, there you have it once again. For the 3rd time tonight, we've come to that moment of truth, which is peculiarly ours, as we discover which one of these 3 gentlemen is the real reporter. So will the real Alex Rourke, Jr. please stand up? I must say, I think you have a nerve standing up as the real one, considering the fact you never sold any stories to CBS.
Perhaps they don't want it known.
Maybe they don't. Number 1, did you tell us your real name and what you really do?
My name is John Currier, and I'm vice president of Maidenform Bra and Girdle Company.
Number 3, your real name and what you do. You garnered most of the votes.
My name is John Sample. I'm assistant athletic director at the West Side YMCA here in New York City.
Well, we check our score once again, and it kind of flipped back and forth tonight. There isn't any real pattern being followed at all. There were 3 incorrect votes this time at $250 each for a total of $750 for you gentlemen. Not bad to walk away with. Plus the fact that I hope you had a good time being with us. We enjoyed having you here, and a carton of Camel cigarettes will be waiting for each of you. Good night to you, and good luck. Now, here's an important message about today's tense, nervous headaches. Well, that's about all the time we have for tonight. As always, this is one of the fastest half hours I spend because of your joyful company, always.
No, Bud.
Good night to you, panel.
Good night.
Good night, Bud, and thank you.
Bud Collier saying good night from Camel Cigarettes and reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.